Okay, I'm back from my quick scouting flight, and I have some good news and I have some bad news. Well, the good news is that they don't seem to be interested in heading this way just yet, so we have some time, and I think we should use that time to prepare the defenses all around the city. It was never really clear. We couldn't tell if these things were mindless drones following the will of some hive queen, or if they really just have no structure, they just exist and roam around devouring everything in their path. We really never knew for sure. There were some theories. Well, most insects who live in a similar sort of life pattern, they typically have one or two really important queens or kings in their hierarchy, and everything else follows and does what the king and queen want. But in this case, we don't know. It's just suspected, and there was some work done on trying to intercept the signals that they use. It's believed to be pheromones, and that was my cousin out west who was really focusing on that. And I stopped by, and there's nothing left. I mean, nothing. They didn't even leave buildings behind, they devoured everything. Whatever these are, they're a serious problem. So, preparations. We've got to get the town ready because eventually they're going to make their way over here. And if we're not ready when they do, it's going to end exactly the same way it did there. I don't. For all I know, they did prepare and it didn't matter. But we at least have to try. We can't just let everything fade away. That's the whole reason that I asked you to help me rebuild my species, and I know it'll be a little. I will do what it takes to ensure we survive. All of us, but I can't do it alone. Because they listen to you. So what, you aren't the mayor? Just because someone is chosen to lead doesn't mean they should lead. People look to the ones they really trust in times of emergency. And when you all thought I was attacking your homes, they didn't look to your mayor. They looked to you. Well, here's the thing about leadership. It doesn't always ask if you want it. It sort of just happens. Your people look to you. And hopefully, I can give you the insight, the guidance to help them prepare. If that were the case, and it's not, I want to make that extremely clear. If that were the case, I would never have come back. I left on that trip to go see if I could find any of my relatives and find out what happened while I was busy. That's a nice way to put it. Busy. I wasn't busy. I was distracting myself, and I lost connection with everything. And I lost almost everything. And that's why I will not let that happen again. If I didn't want to help you, I would have just flown away and never come back. But I did come back, and at least we know a little bit more now. It's very complicated, but to make it simple, in order for a magical connection to be established, you have to have conduits on both ends. It is possible that maybe the conduit was disrupted, but that I would still find my cousin there. I didn't. And I hope you are right. But we can't put our survival on hope. If we want to survive this, we've got to plan and be disciplined and make sure that we do what is necessary to survive. For example, the farmers who live outside the walls. They probably don't want to be out there much longer. They probably want to get inside the walls and set up somewhere in here, somewhere to sleep, somewhere to work, so they can help provide for, well, it's war. I don't know how much you know, because so much has been lost. I don't know what stories, what books, none of that matters. What matters is that you are in a war that you did not ask for. Your entire village was born into it. And if you want any chance at surviving this, you've got to convince your people that there is a chance. Because if they won't fight, if they won't defend their homes, there's nothing you or I can do. I fully plan to do my best. My absolute best to fight them all off as long as I can. But the thing is, these things, they don't stop coming. They really don't. Long ago, before we lost the war, we tried. We tried to fight them head on. We tried to eradicate them because we believed that they would eradicate us. They tried many times and they did fail. They did. Now they are about to succeed. Panic and disorder will be our downfall. Because I have seen it. I have seen it happen before with my own eyes, not just stories from my parents, from my friends, from my family. I was there. I saw everything fall apart, and I saw everything I cared about fall to pieces. I have seen some horrifying things in my time, and your people are likely to see some of that very soon. If they haven't already, because you've been fighting these things in not knowing what you're dealing with. For how long now? 27 years. Which ones have you faced? There are many different species. And I don't know. There's different ones. They seem to have developed different abilities, and they work together to the benefit of all. Well, that was the first thing we tried. But they're immune. Completely immune to magic. You are too perceptive for your own good. Do you know that? You're right. You're entirely right. I hid in my cave researching because my magic is no good against them. And I don't even know why. And yes, I'm a dragon. Yes, I have claws. and I can, well, not fire, but yes. But what good does that do me when my best abilities can't do anything? Well, that's what I'm saying. It's almost as if their exoskeleton absorbs the magic I use to create the fire, or the lightning, or the freezing wind. Whatever I try does nothing. So that's why it is absolutely critical that we get these defenses reinforced. We bring the farmers in. We will need to identify a more efficient way of providing food. I may not be very good at fighting these creatures with my magic, but food is something I can do. We don't need acres and acres of farmland. I can provide everything we need to eat with magic. All I need is a little spot of land and a little bit of time, and I can grow. All I need is a little spot of land, and I can grow anything you might need to eat. Well, I think you'll find meat is a very rare commodity now. We can try to keep animals within the walls, but most likely would have to be small ones that are easy to clean up after. Chickens, pet cats and dogs would probably be alright, but no more cattle. No, sheep take too much land. Really, there's not a lot of options left as far as meat goes. But vegetables, fruit, those I can grow. Oh, you can. I promise you, you can. It may not be the most delicious of diets, but you can survive without meat. I'm getting a little distracted. I'm sorry. You're kind. I have been through a lot for a long time. And I've had many years to learn how to at least set it aside when I need to. Right now, we need to. Well, one thing we do know is they will not send an attack until they have a scout that returns, that finds us and makes it back. So, the longer we can make sure that doesn't happen, the better we will be. Ideally, we could keep them from getting here indefinitely, but... Well, that's something we would need to talk to your people about. I can create a barrier. A stone barrier, almost a mountain, surrounding this village to act as another level of walls. I can do this, but if I do this, none of you will be able to get out of here. No, I can't leave a mountain pass. Then those things will just find it and use that to get in. Hopefully, if I make the wall big enough, and I make it long enough, they won't try to burrow through it, they won't try to burrow under, and they won't try to climb over. But that's maybe a little too optimistic. Because my cousin tried that, I saw it. I saw it, and they climbed right over. They probably won't if they don't think there's anything here. If none of their scouts return, they're not intelligent creatures. If they don't have a scout come back telling them where food is, they won't come here. But if they do, well, have you seen what happens to an ant colony when they find something? especially something sweet. Before you know it, they are all over it. One ant following another, following the trail that they left. If the trail keeps running cold, they will stop coming. At least in theory. But if they find something, if they mark a trail identifying this place as food, there isn't much we will be able to do. So the goal here is not to hold out against an all-out attack. The goal here is to make it harder for them to realize there is food here, and to make it harder for them to escape if they do. So the walls would be at an incline. A very steep incline. I'm thinking maybe something like 85 degrees. Almost completely vertical. You wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to. Which is why this idea needs to be discussed with your town, your village? I'm sorry, I tend to forget what the right word is for human settlements of different sizes. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend. Well, thank you. Well, we've got to make our way out of here. We've got to get back to the village so you can talk to them. And if they don't trust me, I understand. I wouldn't trust me in their shoes. I did kind of let things get this bad. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't even know. You thought you were dealing with a couple of... what did you call them? Bladed ones. That makes sense, yeah. You've only fought one variant of them. The scouting ones. They're quick, but they are not heavily armed. They are not heavily armored. Yes, that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. These ones, which your crossbows cannot damage, are the easy ones to fight. You don't want to see what other kinds of horrors they have. I promise you, you do not. I think that information is best kept between you and me. Because if people panic, then all of our plans, it won't matter. The number one most important thing is to keep everyone calm. Right. So, we can explain to them that these are scouting probes, and that if we defeat their scouts every time they arrive, we won't have to deal with larger numbers of them. But we really don't want to tell them that these ones are the weakest of the group. Okay, since you don't seem to quite understand, let me put it to you another way. I have seen some that are so big they could crush your entire city under one claw. Some of them are massive and, as far as I can tell, invulnerable to everything, not just magic. It's a problem. It's a serious problem. And I'm hoping that by taking care of the scouts, we never draw the attention of one of their titans. That's what my cousin called them. I don't really know. I don't. And I wish I had more information for you. I don't. I just hope that together, with my information, with your leadership, things end better this time. But I won't lie to you. It will be very difficult, and we cannot afford a mistake. I would recommend having regular counter scouts going in circles, opposite circles, around the village at all times. From the walls. We just need guards, sentries posted. And we need a militia ready to run out at a moment's notice and engage them wherever they are. So we will need volunteers for that. We will need someone to train. Perfect, yes. The city guard should be, I would hope, a big help here. And by the way, something I really think you might want to know, by the way. Since you and I have started the process of preserving my heritage, you may notice a few changes here and there, and it's perfectly normal, but I wanted to tell you before you freak out. Well, to put it simply, being in close proximity to me for long periods of time is going to begin altering you, and given enough time, could even turn you into a dragon in your own right. But even if that doesn't happen, you will notice some draconic things occurring. I would strongly suggest you avoid eating anything spicy, just in case it kickstarts flame glands. It takes a long time for that to kick in. If it really is something you're worried about, then we can split. I can speak to someone to send messages to you on my behalf, and then you won't have to be near me. Or I can send my familiar. You know what? That's what I'll do. It's not a problem. I wasn't thinking clearly. And I wanted you to make a fully informed decision. So now you know. And you're okay with it. Oh my. Oh my. Well, then forget what I said about messages. Well, except you do still need to talk to your people, and we should go do that sooner rather than later. We can do that later. We've got to fertilize plenty of eggs. There is a lot of work ahead of you. Are you up for it? I bet you are. Hello everyone, Star here, and thank you for listening to this video, audio kind of thing. This is a follow-up, second part to a Fan Friday, and I've been doing a lot of them lately, but they're fun. You know, I had the other Dragon series going for a bit, and I wanted to wrap that one up before I continued on this one. But if memory serves, that one was also a Fan Friday, so... Who would have thought people love dragons? I would have. Because I love dragons. They're awesome. It's not gonna, burn you alive if you... Anyway, brighter topics. So, I had a lot of long pauses in this one while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to progress the story and such. And I don't know, we'll see when the editing's done what it comes out to. I still think it's really solid. And I just, I said in the last outro, I envisioned this like hive of xenomorphs or something, or terminids, or whatever, just this giant hive insect colony thing that just eats everything. And as far as we know, there's only one thing left, which is this little town in this little valley. So we are trying to figure out how to survive. And, well, I loved ants growing up, like, so much. I would go out on recess, in elementary school or primary school, I believe, for those of you in Europe, or I don't know. I'm trying to, I don't know. I would go out on recess, on, lunch break, whenever, and I'd go outside, and there was this big tree, and I was, like 6, 7, maybe 8 at the time, so it felt huge to me then. It probably wouldn't now if I could go back there. But there was this big tree, and there was this ant colony that lived kind of in between the roots of this big tree. And I would just go sit out there and watch them. I always liked watching ants. And I never really got an ant colony growing up, but I wanted one. I was just kind of worried of them getting out in the house, and my mom was a bit of a clean freak, so she was very worried about them getting out in the house. But anyway, I always liked watching the ants and just watching them go about their day. And it's almost like watching a machine that nobody programmed, but yet still knows exactly how to function efficiently. It's really cool. And it's actually why I realized recently why I love games like RimWorld. Because it's almost like a virtual ant colony. Those survival crafting colony games. I love them. So being able to play out a scenario that involves some of that, some of the knowledge I have, some of the things I've learned and seen and whatnot, it's really cool. I also really, really love this channel on YouTube. Some of you might know it, you maybe not. Ants Canada. This guy builds huge habitats for his, not just ants, but mainly, primarily, his focus is ants and insects and occasionally, lizards and things. And his narration is, like, someone needs to get this man an Oscar for the drama that he puts into the story of watching these ant colonies. It's fascinating, it's funny, it's just a great channel to watch. So, if little creepy crawlies don't creep you out, and you're interested in an overly dramatized telling of the day-to-day life of an ant colony, like I am, maybe that's your thing, Ants Canada. Go check him out. His work is phenomenal. Well, the story about my video ended up me promoting someone else. That's how you know he makes good stuff. Didn't even ask me to say this, and I still am. So, On that note, I'm gonna say goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.